This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFLTV. We are Ipswich Town Football Club, joined by Eddie Hearn.
What's their nickname?
The Tractor Boys.
Go on, Tractor Boys.
What accent was that? Good job there, the Tractor Boys.
No, it's just my accent, isn't it? Go on, Tractor Boys. Yeah.
The rain has stopped.
I've just arrived, that's why.
Yeah. Because you had a bit of luck with your shows, your outdoor shows.
I was saying that on the way up here. I think Tommy Coyle against Luke Campbell, it poured down from 5 till nearly 7 p.m. And I haven't, touch wood, really had any poor weather at outdoor shows. I think it's clearing up right now, which is nice. But it kind of like, I want it to rain. Not because it's a Queensbury show, but I want it to rain because everything just, excuse my language, bucks you on the night when you get beat. Do you know what I mean? So it's like all the momentum of, you turn up, maybe there's not as many people here because some haven't come because of the rain. It's pouring down with rain. It's your homecoming, home debut, stadium opportunity. It's a bit meh. And then you get knocked out by Justice Honey, and it's like momentum. Do you know what I mean?
Bit bitchy that, wasn't it?
It's not. No. It wasn't bitchy at all. I'm just saying, I like the fact that it's not glistening sunshine out there and everyone's having a great time saying, "Oh, Tractor Boys, Tractor Boys, Tractor." Do you know what I mean? It's more like, "Oh my God, it's raining and hope Fabio don't get beat as well." Well, I mean, can you imagine? Pours down with rain, Fabio gets beat.
It's a bad night for Ipswich by the sounds of it, by you.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
No,
but I'm Team Honey. I want it to be a bad night for Ipswich, with all due respect. And as much as I like Fabio, I think he's a great bloke. And I do think it's a pure 50-50 fight. Great fight. Really good fight. Excited for it.
Okay, we'll come back onto this show in a second, but there's quite a lot to dissect over the last 24 hours. First of all, breaking news that Dillian Whyte will take on Whyte-Itauma in Saudi Arabia on August the 16th. I mean, it's a mental fight, isn't it?
Yeah, I heard. I've been working on the show with George, and I heard about it maybe 4 or 5 days ago. I'm getting much better at keeping my mouth shut because I used to have a terrible problem with it. But and when he told me, I was like, wow, great matchmaking. I mean, fair play to Dillian, who has been so inactive. I look at it and say, is he kind of reached the age where he's like, look, it's a massive payday. I'll roll the dice, and if I don't, maybe that's the end of the road for me. It's a nightmare fight for Dillian Whyte coming in with no form or activity against someone like Whyte-Itauma, who's just red hot and on fire. But it's a great bit of matchmaking, I think, for Whyte-Itauma, and it's a real step up. I mean, as much ability as Moses has got, I keep saying he hasn't fought anyone yet, so this is his first legit test, And I do it. I love Dillian, but I do expect Moses to win in great style.
Some of the cards been announced. Ray Ford in a great fight.
Yeah, I was just joking with Simon. I mean, Kakachi's on a great run. It's a tremendous fight, and I think the other one announced Nick Ball against Sam Goodman, another great fight, and could be another fight as well to come that's being discussed. So yeah, it's going to be another huge night in Riyadh, August 16th, which is sometimes a month and a date that you don't get a lot of big shows because it tends to go a little bit quiet in August. And, after a massive July coming up all around the world, great to see another huge show in Riyadh in August.
There was a lot of speculation after Dillian Whyte wasn't going to be fighting on the card about who he's going to fight. How close, or was it close, talks with Anthony Joshua?
No talks. I mean, we did. I felt that was the perfect fight for Dillian. For AJ in November, December, October, whenever he's back. And I think if we didn't fight Tyson Fury, which, by the sounds of things, he won't fight this year, or Dubois, I think Dillian is who we would have fought. But, he's chose to take this fight, and good luck to him.
So there was no discussions prior to that?
No, none at all. No.
Okay.
To be honest, AJ's about a couple of weeks away from going back to full training. We haven't had any discussions about his next fight yet, in terms of speaking to opposition. So, like I said, Dillian was on a very short list of who I think he may have fought, but obviously not now.
Who's on that list still?
I mean, I said before,
take out Fury and Dillian Whyte.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens with Dubois against Usyk. I did say the name Jared Anderson only because that's been thrown into the mix. Dillian Whyte, Chisora's his pal. Joseph Parker, I don't know.
Coley?
Not at this point. He's coming off 2 defeats. And, he's still a handful, but I think he needs a big win.
What have you made of the Keyshawn Davis situation?
Wild. I think that people who know boxing know how difficult it is to make weight, especially when you're struggling at the weight. And I think sometimes you get it so wrong. But I always think that when you get it wrong by 4.5 pounds, at what point do you know there's no chance? I mean, you don't know in the morning, and you shouldn't really know the night before. You should really know earlier in fight week that you've got a mountain to climb. So if he's moving up, which I guess he is from his comments, it's a big move because he had a piece of that lightweight division. I know the bigger fights are at 140 and 147, but still, and what makes matters even worse is the fight's off. That's the biggest stinker. And the problem is when you miss weight by 4.5 pounds, it's very difficult to convince the opponent, if they've got ambition, to take the fight. And I'm sure they offered him money, but Dos Santos and Samson Leskovich went, no, not at 4.5 pounds. It's just too much weight. And it's a nightmare because it's a homecoming fight. It was in Norfolk, Virginia. The whole fight was set up around Keyshawn. And I don't know. He didn't seem too devastated, if I'm honest with you, which I found quite strange. But, I'm sure it was a tough situation for him physically and mentally. And I'm sure he went through a tough weight cut, but he missed it by a mile. It wasn't even close. So that's interesting now with the WBO title potentially becoming vacant.
What fight was you involved with years ago where somebody came in? Quigg against, who was it?
Valdez.
Yes.
What was it? 3 pounds, something like that. The same kind of thing where he was, on fight week that there's going to be, and what happens generally, you have a bad camp. And what happened with Scott in that camp, if I'm right, I think he had a stress fracture in his foot and he couldn't run for 2 weeks and he had to try and do different stuff. And during that period, he had a massive setback. So you're playing catch up. And, I remember the night before, it was like, we've got a problem with the weight. And then in the morning, it's like, how? I always say, what's the damage? It's like, 4 pounds. It's like, 4 pounds? Like, how much can you get off? I can't get any more off. Oh my God. And then, especially when you're the away fighter, and you go and they get on the scales and you go, I had it with Paul Smith when he fought Andre Ward. And James Prince thought it was a tactic. It wasn't. He just got the weight wrong, and, but generally it happens towards the back end of a fighter's career, when they've been making weight, and then maybe a little bit of ambition goes and becomes very hard.
That was the fight where Andre Ward didn't take the penalty money, wasn't it? Yeah. Which is not really done, is it?
No, I mean the commission. I think the commission did, but Andre had, penalties as well, which he chose not to take, which was very noble of him.
Okay, right. Another talking point from this week is the situation with Sky and Ben Shalom and Boxer. Daily Mail reporting that their relationship has come to an end after 4 years. First of all, what do you think about the whole situation, and what do you know about this situation?
What do I know about it? Probably what you know, what you've read, and probably a little bit more, I guess, from things people say. It's not my business. I think, and I know people might think this is arrogant, which is probably standard, but it was always going to be very difficult, no, I would say impossible, to replicate what Matchroom and Sky Sports did together. It was one of the most successful organisation broadcaster relationships there's ever been, certainly in the sport of boxing. The schedule, the building of stars, the promotion, the pay-per-view, everything was definitely the most successful period in Sky Sports boxing history, and maybe in the broadcast history with a rights holder. I don't necessarily think Ben has done a bad job, if I'm honest. I've got to know him. We have our ups and downs, but it's not easy. It's not easy. You've got to compete against some relentless individuals who will plot your downfall, will sometimes work against you, won't help you out. Then maybe you get helped out, you get on a run, maybe you make some mistakes, maybe you treat people incorrectly and things go against you. I don't know, but for me, I don't think Sky Sports can really be in the game after what we had together, because they'll never get anything close to it again. It was incredible, and I'm not saying this I'm not saying Eddie Hearn done that, Matchroom did that. I'm saying we all did that. Matchroom, me, Sky Sports. It was the most golden period, and I don't agree with. When I took the exclusive contract with Sky Sports, it was the first time they did it exclusively with one promoter, and people weren't sure about that, and it's the only way to go. I don't believe in working with loads of different promoters, and you have to have a plan. You have to have a rights deal with a promoter and an organisation and a stable of fighters to grow them.
Is that what you think they'll do, though? You think that possibly Boxer and Ben could come in for a show with other promoters?
People say that the fighters' contracts are with Sky, they're not with Boxer. I don't know. So I'm sure that Ben will get the opportunity to pitch show. I can't. It's not really up to me to speak on behalf of him or his business. All we're doing is responding to a couple of newspaper articles, but from the Times and from Riyadh, and generally there's a large element of research that's gone into those. So as I understand it, they're going to pick and choose shows. You don't build a stable and a sport and a plan like that, in my opinion. But maybe they've lost heart with boxing, Sky. Maybe they're just saying, well, we'll do pay-per-views, and if we get a good show, we'll do it. I have no idea. But it's like I said, it's like when Alex Ferguson left Man United. Everything changed forever, and maybe they'll never be the same.
What are the chances of, if, like I said, we're going from the reports of the newspapers there, but what are the chances of possibly Ben Shalom and Boxer Gang with a TNT as exclusive promoters, or coming and joining the Zone?
I don't know. I mean, it all depends. You've got to pitch your talent, your stable. You've got to pitch you as a promoter and an operator, and as a platform and a profile to the broadcaster, and which, by the way, I'm sure they're doing. But I don't know which fighters they've got, which fighters are actually signed to Sky. I have no idea. But Ben's got some good fighters, and he's got, he's new in the game, but he's a good operator, Ben. I think, and you can get a TV deal. Maybe he does. Maybe he stays and does stuff with Sky. Maybe he gets a TV deal somewhere else. I don't know. Good luck. I hope he does.
Is Eubank signed to Sky?
No, I didn't.
You don't know?
No, I do.
Well, it's all going on, isn't it?
It is. It's exciting. Listen, boxing's on fire. I mean, actually, I was thinking, we've got 3 main events this weekend. We've got Jai Opetaia fighting tomorrow in Australia. We've got Justice Honey fighting tonight. We've got Beatrice Ferreira headlining on an MVP card tonight. And we don't actually have our own complete own Matchroom show. So that just shows you, like, the way that people are working together is fantastic for the sport. I think the sport's in a better place than it's ever been. We're building our stable globally. We had massive meetings this week with 2 new territories. You're going to see more Matchroom shows internationally and globally. We've got big plans for our UK schedule from September. Some big news coming for Matchroom very soon as well. You're going to see things change considerably in the way we operate. And
In what kind of way?
just freshening things up. And some big news. So
Does that mean you're going to be doing less?
no. You hope so, don't you? No, you don't actually. 'cause
We're
you
seeing
don't know
more
if
Frank
I'm in
Smith.
jail.
We're seeing more Frank Smith nowadays.
How does Frank do on the views?
Frank does all right. Frank's steady,
Yeah.
but yeah, Frank's steady. Yeah.
Thank you for coming out to the George Cambosis Richardson Hitchinson card next week.
IFLTV
It's
will
gonna
be
a
there.
great fight card at Madison Square Garden next week. And also, massive for young Adam Macker making his professional debut. And Terra Moana now on the card as well. And a big fight for Andy Cruz in the lightweight division because his son has now evacuated the division and gone to 140, Keyshawn. And we will not be happy. Andy will not be happy.
Quick couple of things before I let you go. Any update on Ben Eubank rematch?
No. I'm being told September 20th, September 27th is the date.
Frank said you're waiting for the football fixtures.
That's correct. And His Excellency to let us know. Connor's just enjoying his 746th holiday, and he's got a couple more weeks of that, and then he'll be back in the camp, ready to go. He's very hungry for the fight. We believe we're going to make the adjustments to win the fight, but it's going to be another Fight of the Year contender.
What can you tell us about Dave Allen at the moment? When are you looking to put him out?
I'm very excited about Dave Allen.
Him and Wilder, get it on.
I mean, did you see Dave Allen hitting pads the other day? Where has this geezer come from?
Can I just ask you one question?
I've got to tell you, I have the funniest conversations. Let me read you out some DMs from Dave Allen. He's probably the funniest bloke I've ever met in my life, right? We have the funniest conversations, and it's like he really knows the game now. So he's self-managed, I believe, and he doesn't need a manager because he knows the game inside out. Oh, where is it? It's not loading. Oh man. Oh, it's not like that's, the reception's not great in it. Can't load activity. Gutted. Anyway, it's like I responded to his video on the pads going, mate, I actually think you're actually not bad. And he's like, do you know what? I actually think I'm quite good. And I'm like, mate, you could. And I said to him, can I ask you a question? I'm going to tell you some names. Do you think you would beat them now? Dillian Whyte, Derek Chisora, who else did I say? Joe Joyce, David Adelaide. I said, you tell me, because when we're talking about these Saudi fights, Dave's name is coming up because they know he's popular. Like, you know the numbers, right? And let me tell you, when Dave Allen, which he will be doing, headlines in Sheffield in September or October, I think he'll sell the whole thing out. Like, I think he is.
Which venue?
The big one. He said to me the other day, he goes, are we going in the Cannon Medical Arena or the big one? I went, the big one. I said, let's go for it. And he's like, I think I might. He said, I haven't got many friends. That's what he said. I said, people love you, Dave, and they love the story. Don't you think, like, tell me top 10 British kind of fighters and personalities and names.
I agree. No, I
and,
agree.
and I just think sometimes the timing's right for the British public, and definitely the people of Sheffield and around that area where he's from, to actually get behind this, what is still quite a young man, and just go on a little bit of a journey with us, and just come join the dream. Because I tell you something now, if Dave Allen wins, I've heard that Shelley Finkel likes the Dave Allen fight for Deontay Wilder. If Dave Allen wins in September, I'm going to be doing everything I can to make Wilder Allen.
At Ponds Forge.
Mate, how big is that fight then? Like, you know that fight sells out the O2, Manchester Arena, all of those. And some. Dave Allen is my new little project. I want to make Dave Allen so much money that at the end of it all, he can't stop laughing. You know, when he's walking around, you know, he wants an ensuite.
Yeah.
I want 8 ensuites in his house. You know what I mean? I want acres for him to walk around with his kids and just laugh about what happened. If he keeps his nut down, he can do damage in the heavyweight division. And I just think we're going to go on a bit of a run here. So when we announce his next fight, get behind it. Get in the journey. And we're going to do a great card in Sheffield as well. I've got 3 or 4 brilliant fights, some big signings lined up as well. Get out and support this show. It'll be a good fight. And
Chris Lovejoy?
definitely not Chris. I said to Dave, will you stop? What's wrong with Chris Lovejoy? I went, I don't mean to be rude. And, you know, Chris might not like it. I might beat Chris Lovejoy. You might beat Chris Lovejoy. Do you know what I mean? Like, we got to have a real fight. I said, here's box rec. Find me someone in the top 100, 80, whatever.
It's Bracamonte right now.
But that was a Raw, that was. We'll do the rematch. But what I'm saying is, I'm not expecting Dave Allen to fight Wilder or those kind of guys in Sheffield. But we got to have a serious fight. We got to fight a proper contender. And now Dave's on good money in his contract. So we expect a good fight. We want to sell it out. But right now, Dave is one of the most popular, likeable fighters in British boxing. And I've got a sneaky feeling when he walks out, headlining in Sheffield in September or October, he will look around and just go, wow, I can't believe what I've done. And good luck to him.
Absolutely. Right, Eddie Hearn, much appreciate your time. We'll enjoy fight night.
Come see you in New York.
Quick prediction, just
Tonight.
a round prediction. Yeah.
Justice Hooney on points.
Okay. Eddie Hearn, thank you very much.
Thank you.